The sun was peeking over the horizon, casting a soft glow on the faces of those leaving the church vigil. The night had been filled with prayers, songs, and testimonies, a truly uplifting experience. Everyone felt elated, albeit exhausted. Everyone except Kolapo. He lingered at the back, his face shadowed with an expression that betrayed inner turmoil. While others smiled and related with one another, Kolapo remained detached, filled with deep, haunting despair. He hadn't always been this way. Kolapo had once been the kind of person who lit up any room he entered, vibrant, bold, resilient, and confident. He spoke at seminars and shows. Son to well-educated parents, Kolapo would be no exception in carrying on the family's legacy of excellence. However, in a space of few months, series of events took place in his life that shattered him completely. He lost everything: his eloquence, his self-confidence, his charisma. It was his first day at the university, and the campus buzzed with life as students hurried to their lecture halls. The air was thick with excitement and anticipation. Kolapo's extroverted nature made it easy for him to adjust.
Chairman, how far now?
Kolapo greeted the fellow students with a broad smile.
I'm Kolapo, pleased to meet you.
The other students returned his smile.
Nice to meet you too. I'm Shegun, but you can call me Shexi. Shexi, cool. So what time is lecture starting?
Kolapo asked. Shegun glanced at his watch.
Lecture ought to have started, but the lecturer is running late.
As if on cue, the lecturer walked in and the students quickly settled into their seats. That brief exchange marked the beginning of a friendship that would change Kolapo's life forever. Kolapo and Shegun became bosom friends. They helped each other to navigate some of the challenges of university life, and Shegun became his trusted ally. But Shegun had a side he kept hidden. Beneath his friendly demeanor lay a darker identity, being a member of one of the most feared confraternities on campus unknown to Kolapo. One evening, Shegun showed up at Kolapo's apartment, and after some hours of gisting, he asked Kolapo to follow him somewhere.
KP, let's take a walk. I need to show you something.
Shegun said casually. Kolapo, ever the obliging friend, agreed without hesitation. As they walked down an unusual path, the air grew colder, and the surrounding area became eerily quiet.
Shexi, where are we going?
Kolapo asked, a hint of unease creeping into his voice. Shegun stopped and turned to him.
KP, I've been observing you. You're smart, strong, and fearless. You're exactly what we need in the Brotherhood.
Kolapo's heart skipped a beat.
The Brotherhood? What are you talking about?
Before Kolapo could process what was happening, figures emerged from the shadows, and he was surrounded. He was blindfolded, his protests drowned out by firm hands that dragged him forward. When the blindfold was removed, Kolapo found himself in the middle of a desolate clearing. A fire crackled ominously, its flickering light casting eerie shadows on the faces of the men surrounding him. The initiation process began. It was brutal, far beyond anything Kolapo could have imagined. He was thrown to the ground alongside 3 other recruits. They were beating relentlessly, their phones seized, and their identities stripped away. The air was thick with the cries of the recruits as they endured the torture. They were so battered and bruised that they had a near-death experience. Right there beside him, one of the recruits who could no longer endure the torture collapsed, his body limp and lifeless. Kolapo's heart sank. What will they tell his parents? Kolapo felt a deep sense of betrayal. How did he even get himself in this mess? He didn't see this coming at all. His trusted body. Yet, through the pain and agony, he couldn't help but notice some of the faces of whom he was greatly surprised to see there. They were the last people on earth you would ever have imagined could join the cult. Kolapo's head throbbed with pain, and his body ached from the relentless blows. The sharp, searing pain around his left eye was particularly unbearable. Thank God he was able to come out of this ordeal alive. Or what would have become of him if he hadn't made it through? One thing he knew more than his name was that he was going to confront Segun. He would definitely give him a piece of his mind.
Kolapo! What happened to you? Where have you been?
The voice startled him, pulling him back to reality. He turned to see a familiar face staring at him in shock. He froze, his mind racing. What could he say? How could he explain this nightmare to anyone, let alone his mom? His mother continued to stare at him, shocked beyond words. A day before, she had sensed it in her spirit that something was wrong somewhere, but she couldn't place what it was. More so, when she tried to reach her son on his mobile phone, it wasn't reachable. She sensed something was amiss. Now, she knows why.
I was robbed, Mom.
Kolapo heard himself say, trying to come to terms with what had just happened to him. There was no way he would tell his mother he had just been initiated. Even in explaining everything, she would still not believe him. Much later that day, he was seated before his parents, trying his best to convince them. However, his father doesn't seem to buy his story.
Son, I am trying hard to believe you, but there are some loopholes in your story that's making it unbelievable.
His father said, shaking his head. He had seen a mark on his son's body that made him believe his son is not telling them the truth. He was himself once a university student after all.
But Dad, you have to believe me. That was what happened.
Kolapo protested, trying his best to feign innocence.
Honey, you know what? I think we need to go to the church to see Pastor Victor.
His father suggested, to which his mother agreed. The next morning, he was alone with Pastor Victor in his office. He was so kind and warm in his disposition.
Kolapo, what really happened? You know, you can talk to me about it.
He said, trying to win Kolapo's trust. What next? Will Kolapo trust Pastor Victor enough to confide in him? Is Pastor Victor trustworthy? Let's find out in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.